Alabama football in the 2010s and Yale football in the 1880s. What do these two eras have in common? Both teams will go down as some of the most dominant chapters in college football's history, while teams such as 1990's Kent State and 2010's UMass, not so much. But today, I want to talk about a different kind of team. The programs that came out of nowhere, had one unbelievable season, then didn't come really close after that. The qualifications for me are simple. They weren't the best before this magical season, and they weren't the best after that season as well. So with those easy points, let's take you back to the year 2000. Throughout the 1990s, Oregon State football was an afterthought, a program buried at the bottom of the Pac-10. From 1990 to 1998, the Beavers went 29, 81, and 1, cycling through 4 head coaches and failing to post a winning season since 1970. But everything changed when Dennis Erickson arrived in Corvallis. After a promising 7-5 season in 1999, year 2 under Erickson delivered the unthinkable. Oregon State brought back its top playmakers, added an underrated transfer, then suddenly, belief replaced embarrassment. At quarterback, Jonathan Smith wasn't flashy, completing just 49% of his passes, but he was steady enough as it was the offense around him that exploded. Running back Ken Simonton put together a historic season, rushing for nearly 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns, finishing 9th in Heisman voting and becoming the heartbeat of the team. On the outside, future NFL receivers TJ Houshmandzadeh and Chad Johnson formed one of the most dangerous duos in college football, combining for over 70 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And while the offense grabbed headlines, the defense delivered results, forcing 22 interceptions and allowing just 314 yards per game, 21st in the nation. The Beavers went 11-1, defeated 4 ranked teams, and came within a couple of feet of a perfect season, falling just short against Washington, where if Oregon State had a decent kicker, they could have went to overtime. In 2000, Oregon State claimed a share of the Pac-10 title, finishing alongside Washington and Oregon. And on New Year's Day, on college football's biggest stage, the Beavers made a statement, dominating Notre Dame 41-9 in the Fiesta Bowl. Oregon State finished the season top 20 nationally in both points scored and points allowed, closing the year ranked number 4 in the final AP poll. It was and is the greatest season in school history. The magic didn't last though. With Houshmandzadeh and Johnson gone, the offense fell back down to earth in 2001, finishing 5-6. And where OSU didn't see another double-digit win season until 2006 behind Dolphins legend Matt Moore. 2007 is remembered as one of the craziest seasons in college football history. Chaos everywhere, powerhouses falling, rankings changing weekly. But in the middle of all that madness, one team nearly broke the sport entirely, the Kansas Jayhawks. From 1996 to 2005, Kansas football was mostly forgettable, just one winning season and a 50-77 record. But that changed in 2006. The team went 6-6, but lost 4 one-score games, meaning they were painfully close to a 10-2 season. Heading into 2007, there was a quiet optimism in Lawrence. And then everything clicked. With Clint Bowen entering his second year as co-defensive coordinator and new offensive coordinator Ed Warner bringing in an efficient spread offense, Kansas exploded. The first 4 non-conference games got fans excited as the Jayhawks outscored their opponents 214-23, and what came next in conference play I don't think anyone expected. Kansas won 7 straight Big 12 games, bringing the team to an 11-0 record where the Kansas Jayhawks sat at number 2 in the country, the highest rank achieved by the team in school history. Sadly, their dream season came to a halt versus Northern Division rival Missouri Tigers in a final regular season game which resulted in a co-championship status of the Northern Division, but denied them a trip to a Big 12 championship game. But New Year's rolled around where they defeated Virginia Tech in the Orange Bowl, was the school's first and only Orange Bowl and BCS Bowl game victory. The 12 wins set a new school record where the offense and defense were generational. Kansas scored 42.8 points per game and only allowed 16.4 points per game. Also helped quarterback Todd Reesing decided to have a record-breaking season in passing yards and touchdowns, as well as future NFLers Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr. being lockdown corners for the team. And just like that, Kansas was on top of the college football world. Unfortunately, it was the peak. The seasons that followed saw a slow collapse, from 8 wins in 2008 all the way down to 1 win in 2012. Since that magical 2007 season, Kansas has managed to only get 3 winning seasons, all while knowing they were just 1 possession away from completely changing college football history. My team from the 2010 season, this might be a hot take, but I truly believe 2010 Auburn football was a one-season wonder. Expectations for the Tigers were mild before the 2010 season, as the previous 08 and 09 seasons saw records of 5-7 and 8-4 respectively, as well as having their legendary head coach Tommy Tuberville recently leave, which left a hole in the program. Yet, the arrival of one man completely changed the whole dynamic of this Tigers team, that being JUCO transfer Cam Newton. In that era of college football, Cam Newton was basically a cheat code. A 6'5" dual-threat quarterback put together one of the most dominant individual seasons the sport has ever seen. 2,800 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, 1,400 rushing yards, and 20 rushing touchdowns, plus even a receiving touchdown. That's 51 total touchdowns in one season. Throughout the 2010 season, the Tigers' offense obviously exploded with Newton and powerhouse running back Michael Dyer. The season floated by like a dream, and nothing could really stop the Auburn football team. Starting the year at the 22nd ranking, Auburn went on to win 11 straight games and rose to the number 2 ranking, beat 3 ranked teams, and survived 5 one-score games. Then came the Iron Bowl. Down 24-7 at halftime against Alabama, it looked like the perfect season was over. Instead, Cam Newton and the defense led one of the greatest comebacks in Iron Bowl history, winning 28-27 and securing a 12-0 regular season. South Carolina stood no chance in the SEC championship as Auburn rolled 56-17, then came the national championship against Oregon. Tied 19-19 late in the fourth, one of the most iconic plays in college football history happened. Running back Michael Dyer wasn't ruled down by contact, which gave Auburn prime field position after his run, which eventually set up the game-winning kick for Auburn. Became Auburn's 9th title in school history, and where Cam Newton cleaned up the awards. First team All-American, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Maxwell O'Brien Award winner, and more importantly, the Heisman Trophy winner. Greatest individual season in program history, but once Cam Newton got drafted, reality hit the school. Auburn went 8-5 in 2011 and completely fell apart in 2012, finishing 3-9. Yes, they made another magical run to the BCS championship in 2013, which could be considered another one-season wonder, but outside the lightning in the bottle season, Auburn never truly sustained the success that 2010 promised. That's why, as incredible as it was, 2010 Auburn football stands as one of the greatest and most clear one-season wonders in college football history. The definition of mid was the Miami Hurricanes from 2006 to 2015. During that stretch, Miami posted a 71-56 record, and for a program that dominated the early 2000s and was once one of the most feared teams in college football, this was rock bottom. In those 10 seasons, Miami's best conference record was just 5-3 multiple times, and they were never truly in ACC title contention. Then came the reset. Now, just like the previous 2000 Oregon State team, heading into 2016, Miami hired Mark Wright as head coach. In his first year, Wright led the Hurricanes to a respectable 9-4 record behind quarterback Brad Kaya and running back Mark Walton. But the identity of that 2016 team and what would define 2017 was the defense, led by newly hired defense coordinator Manny Diaz. In 2017, that Hurricanes defense allowed just 21 points per game and introduced one of the most iconic symbols in college football, the turnover chain. Miami forced 31 turnovers that season, and the chain was on full display. Behind that elite defense, a steady run game, and a decent enough Malik Rozier, the wins started piling up. Miami opened the season at the 18th ranking and climbed all the way up to the number 2 spot in the country by November 18th with a 10-0 record where they beat 2 ranked opponents by an average of 25 points. The Hurricanes were legitimately in college football playoff contention, but everything changed at Pitt. A loss in the regular season finale killed Miami's momentum heading into the ACC championship game, and unfortunately for the Canes, Clemson was at the peak of their dominance in the mid to late 2010s. The result was a reality check, a 38-3 blowout loss. Miami then earned a New Year's Day home game at the Orange Bowl against Wisconsin, but that also ended in disappointment, a 34-24 loss. Still, the 2017 season wasn't a failure. Miami won 10 games for the first time since 2003 and beat rival Florida State for the first time in 7 years. But that high in Hurricane Nation didn't last. The following season, Miami fell to 7-6, reverting right back to the mid-program they were before, raising the question on whether 2017 was a true turning point or just a one-season wonder. It won't be until the 2024 and 2025 seasons that Miami finally put together back-to-back double-digit win seasons again, coming just one play away from a national championship only weeks ago. And that's what makes the 2017 Miami Hurricanes so fascinating. A season that felt like a return before the fall came just as fast. 2017 was a big year for the final team on my list, the Michigan State Spartans. That season, MSU went 10-3 and finished in the final AP poll at 15th. Yet, this isn't about the 2017 season for Sparty, because after that solid season, the Spartans entered a rough stretch from 2018 to 2020, posting a combined losing record of 16-17. During those 3 seasons, Michigan State's offense didn't score more than 22 points per game in any of them. The program felt stuck, but one man stepped onto campus which changed the offense's identity. Kenneth Walker III. The Wake Forest transfer became the engine of the Spartans' 2021 team, carrying the ball 263 times for 1,636 yards and 18 rushing touchdowns. Everything Michigan State did offensively ran through him. Pair that with a defense who put together 85 TFLs and 42 sacks, and suddenly, the Spartans had a formula that worked. Michigan State jumped out to a 7-0 start, and in one of the most memorable games of the season, they beat rival and second-ranked Michigan 37-33 to improve to 8-0 and rise to 5th in the country. The final stretch of the regular season wasn't as kind. Michigan State would go 2-2, which eventually knocked them out of a Big Ten championship game appearance. But the Spartans ended the season with a Peach Bowl victory over 13th ranked Pitt, 31-21. Kenneth Walker earned a first-team All-American selection, as well as being 6th in Heisman voting, with multiple other Spartan players receiving first or second-team All-Big Ten recognition. It felt like Michigan State had turned a corner, but that belief didn't last. After the 11-win season in 2021, the Spartans failed to produce a single winning season from 2022 through 2025, going 18-30 on the field. Numbers that look even worse when accounting for NCAA's ruling that wiped out wins from multiple seasons, so technically, they are 4-30 in these last 4 years. What once looked like a resurgence now feels like an outlier. And that's why the 2021 Michigan State Spartans stand as one of the clearest examples of a season that promised a turnaround, only to leave the program right back where it started. These teams are just a few examples of one-season wonders in the sport of college football, but some of the biggest ones in my opinion. And that's what makes one-season wonders so compelling. They remind us that in college football, lightning doesn't always strike twice, but when it does strike once, you never forget. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and hitting the bell notifications. Thank you.